Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth, is not just a mountain, it's also a border. Rising 8,848 meters above sea level later, revised to 8,848.86 meters in 2020, Everest sits right on the frontier between Nepal and China's Tibet Autonomous Region. On paper, this seems simple. One side belongs to Nepal, the other to China. But the reality is far more complicated, and for decades, Everest has symbolized not just natural grandeur, but also geopolitical confusion, pride, and subtle rivalry. Everest is located in the Himalayan range, straddling the Mahalangur Himal sub-range. The southern slope, known as the Nepalese side, lies within Solukhumbu district. The northern slope belongs to Tibet, an autonomous region under Chinese control. The exact dividing line runs through the summit itself. In theory, anyone standing at the very top of Everest is standing in both countries at once. Climbers ascending from Nepal reach the summit via the South Col route, while climbers from Tibet attempt the North Col route. This geography makes Everest unique. It is not just a mountain, but a natural frontier whose ownership is jointly shared and at times contested. The border issue dates back to the mid-20th century, when Nepal and China began formalizing their boundary after the Chinese takeover of Tibet in 1950. In 1960, Nepal and China signed the Boundary Agreement, which confirmed Mount Everest, known as Sagarmatha in Nepal and Komalangma in Tibet, China, as a border peak. A year later, in 1961, both countries finalized the Nepal-China Boundary Treaty, officially establishing the summit as the dividing line. On paper, the treaty settled the matter. Both governments recognized Everest as lying exactly on the border, not belonging entirely to one country or the other. Yet, despite these agreements, disagreements over mapping, naming, and measurement have fueled continuing confusion. For Nepal, Everest is Sagarmatha, meaning goddess of the sky. For China and Tibet, it is Komalangma, meaning holy mother. China insists that the Tibetan name is the original, while Nepal promotes Sagarmatha as part of its national identity. Even today, official maps from Beijing and Kathmandu use their own preferred names, a subtle reflection of pride and rivalry. Perhaps the most visible source of confusion has been Everest's official height. In 1954, India measured the peak at 8,148 meters, a figure long accepted internationally. In 2005, China conducted its own survey and announced a different figure, 8,844.43 meters. Beijing argued that Nepal's measurement included the snow cap, while China measured only the rock height. Nepal disagreed, insisting the traditional 8,048 meters should stand. This difference symbolized more than science, it became a matter of national prestige. For years, Nepal and China issued separate official heights. Finally, in 2010, both countries reached a compromise. China recognized 8,048 meters as the height including snow. Nepal acknowledged 8,844.43 meters as the rock height. But the story didn't end there. In 2020, after Nepal conducted its own extensive survey with GPS and satellite technology, supported by China's later confirmation, both nations jointly declared Everest's new height, 8,848.86 meters. This rare act of cooperation showed that while disputes exist, both countries also see value in resolving them together. Even after treaties and agreements, Everest's border continues to create confusion for several reasons. Different mapping systems, Nepalese and Chinese cartographic agencies use different surveying methods, leading to minor discrepancies in border depictions. Climbing routes and access. Most climbers prefer the Nepalese side, where permits and access are easier. China tightly controls access from Tibet. This creates the perception that Everest belongs more to Nepal, even though the summit is shared. Geopolitical symbolism. For Nepal, Everest is its greatest national symbol, appearing on banknotes and tourism campaigns. For China, Everest is proof of sovereignty over Tibet. Both narratives create tension over who owns the mountain emotionally. Tourism rivalry. Nepal earns tens of millions of dollars annually from climbing permits, while China seeks to attract more climbers through Tibet. This competition fuels political undertones in how the border is presented. Everest represents more than geology, it reflects power and identity. For Nepal, Everest is a symbol of sovereignty and global recognition. A small country sandwiched between two giants, Nepal sees Everest as its natural brand, the one thing that gives it a voice on the world stage. For China, Everest validates its authority over Tibet, a region where questions of sovereignty remain sensitive. By asserting control over the northern slopes, Beijing reinforces its political narrative. Thus, Everest becomes a tool of soft power as much as a physical border. The Everest issue also reflects a larger reality. The Himalayas are filled with disputed borders. India, Nepal, Bhutan, and China all face territorial disagreements in this rugged region. Natural features like rivers and mountain ridges shift with time, and different surveys produce conflicting claims. Everest is unique because both Nepal and China accept the summit as the border, but even then, disputes over measurement and symbolism reveal how fragile agreements can be.